Huge week for ETF flows. We haven't seen buying pressure like this for a while now. It's well above the averages on some days. I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of craziness leading into the monthly.
Standard Chartered head of research is basically predicting a Sol and XRP spot ETF to come in 2025. I think Sol's probably best positioned to get the next one. He's not the only one saying this.
We don't know for certain, but it seemed like everyone just sold the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and then go buy a cheaper product. Hey guys, welcome to this week's episode of Tapping Into Crypto. I'm Pav, and with me,
I'm Ted.
The gorgeous Ted.
Thanks, mate. How you going? Yeah, good. How are you?
No, we're good.
Yeah, good weekend?
Yeah, well, what's going on?
We spent too much time with each other.
God damn it.
Oh, God. Let's just get straight into it.
Yeah, all right.
Usually when we have a normal conversation, outside of the podcast, it's just talking shit to each other.
Yeah,
so
trying to talk down on each other.
Yeah, we're not very good at this,
Trying to be nice and cordial.
Trying to be nice and that's it. Anyway, that's not what we're good at. We're good at covering the cryptos. That's right. So let's dive straight in.
Jesus Christ.
The big news, ETH ETF approved pretty much, at the final hour. I think the expectation was like 25% chance of approval. And then...
That was like a week ago.
Bloomberg, pretty much flipped its stance and said, 75% because I guess the SEC... rumor got out that they were gotten the old word from Biden is my speculation, not guaranteed. But Biden was like, I'm losing this election and cryptos are one of the big things that's going against me. So I need to show more support. And so I think he gave the old nudge to the SEC to be, let's pass it through.
Yeah, I don't know. How does it work? Does it work like that? Because I heard that it was like all Republicans voted mainly yes, and there was just enough votes from Democrats.
Well,
actually, why are we talking politics?
Yeah,
I just realized.
No, we shouldn't. But Gensler is traditionally like left-leaning when it comes to aligning with the politicians. So
left-leaning out the door.
I think he had to swallow his pride a bit on that one. Yeah, but look, there's some key things to touch on here. ETH was up like 30% in, I think, a couple of days. Yep. It was the largest one-day market cap gain for ETH ever, and it saw an increase of $70 billion, which is huge.
That's good.
So, one thing to keep in mind, though, and I know you weren't aware of this because you told me just before the podcast, is... Well, I'm about to tell you, aren't I? Grayscale hold $9.2 billion in ETH, which, if you compare it to what happened when the Bitcoin ETF got approved,
that thing.
I'm expecting quite a big sell-off to begin with before things really start to go crazy. Whether there's, there might be more demand for ETH this time to outweigh sort of that sell-off pressure because the Grayscale futures fund was created as a discount so people can, cash in some profits potentially when it goes live. So
it'd be an instant... I think I've already looked at it. I think the discount to premium window is already closed. It was like 5% difference last week. So a bit faster than what pretty much the same as what the Bitcoin one did.
I guess we'll wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see. But yeah, I don't hate that idea. Because what happened is we don't know for certain, but it seemed like everyone just sold the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust and then go buy a cheaper product.
Yeah. And it's kind of one of the things that kept sort of the inflows down for a long time. It's just people just selling off the Grayscale product.
Yeah. So it took about a week or two from memory to settle down.
Yeah, but even still, there were outflows for weeks just purely from the... all the outflows from Grayscale outweighed all the inflows from BlackRock and all the other ones. So it was pretty strong. So if history is anything to go by, I think we could see something similar.
Yeah, nice.
And then lastly, to kind of cap off this big story, is Standard Chartered head of research is basically predicting a Sol and XRP spot ETF to come in 2025. That's nice. I think Sol's probably best positioned to get the next one. He's not the only one saying this. But obviously he's coming from a reputable institution in Standard Chartered, so that's why we like to listen to him. But XRP, I don't know. You said you want an XRP ETF. I don't really care for XRP, if I'm honest.
I don't care either. Well, I don't care for Sol. Well, whatever happens. None of us in control.
You don't care for Sol. Come on, mate.
I do care for Sol. But what I mean is I don't know. The ETF thing is just one of these things where we've seen it play out in front of us. Like the ETH one just went from not a thing to 11th hour within 5 days. It's approved and it's done. It's pretty ridiculous.
What's your take?
To what Solana and XR. Yeah, I think if we go back to when the Bitcoin ETF was happening, I was I've been penciling in Solana ETFs. Mm-hmm. There'll be whatever ETF. There'll be I think the Bitcoin ETF will prove one thing, that there is speculative demand for crypto assets in the TradFi world, which is now proved, like categorically. Like even we're going to jump into some flows data, but they're buying. So again, like they're going to be looking, they being people not able to purchase and acquire crypto the way we can, they'll be looking for more speculative beta plays, better risk return plays through other assets as the market matures and progresses. So I think it just makes sense. And then we probably will see at some stage ETFs that are like a basket of goods, more sort of thematic category themed ETFs, which we haven't seen right now because an ETF is usually like a bundle.
Yeah, exactly. That's in traditional markets, you get a bundle of stocks.
So you might see like AI bundles that are crypto and stocks pushed together. So it's almost like an emerging sort of sector bundle. Like I could see things like products like that being created in the future.
I think that's a while away, but I think you're right. Like they might bundle up Sol, Bitcoin, and ETH. Just for a little bit more risk than say a Bitcoin ETF.
But big fan. I like to see it. I don't know what the timeline will be for this sort of thing, but
I think it'll be a big narrative this year, particularly around like Sol and maybe even XRP, where if there's speculation that BlackRock or Fidelity, these big sort of fund managers are going to launch a ETF for those smaller coins. There'll be speculation around them and also their ecosystem. So obviously we talk about Sol ecosystem all the time. That could benefit quite nicely here, or it might not.
Correct. And like another thing you can look at, like we all talk about the Grayscale products. They've been around for years and years and years. You can actually just go onto their website and see what products they currently have. So I'm just going to quickly rattle off a few. They've got a trust. So these are all, again, publicly tradable. I've got one for BAT, Basic Attention Token, which is long gone now. I feel like no one's talking about that anymore. Yeah. But the browser's still going, so I imagine the token's fine. Bitcoin Cash. They have one for Decentraland, Chainlink, Ethereum Classic, Filecoin, Horizon, Litecoin, LivePeer, Solana. So again, they've already got one set up for that. Stellar Lumens, Zcash as well. So, there's one for Stacks as well. Sorry, I missed that one.
It's funny because like obviously just a few of those you mentioned were huge last cycle, super popular. Their narrative was there, like but
they were established
Decentraland one, and then now you look at it, it's like nowhere to be seen, right? Because things have
market cap still.
Yeah, but it doesn't have the users.
True.
So like I think that's maybe a risk of these, the likes of Grayscale and other fund managers going too hard into assets that haven't done, a full cycle. So, like it's good to see like how it's tested over 1 to 2 full cycles, but you never know. The crypto market is always evolving. So
it is always interesting. I guess from my perspective, there's not really too much to call out that you didn't already cover there, to be honest. I mean, I've been tracking this ETH chart for a while, and like you said, when we had that approval, we were sort of hitting on this key fib level for those listening at home, which is about $2,900, and we just rocketed out of there too. So I think everything's looking like it's heading at least to previous highs. So for Ethereum, that's 4,000 and a bit of change. And then we hit up price markup, hit into price discovery, which should be nice, moving into towards that mid 4,000 range, and then breaking that previous all-time high of about 4,880, depending on what exchange you're on. So safe to say, if we break out into the 5,000s, it'll be very similar to what we saw from Bitcoin, breaking into all-time highs as well. So probably wouldn't expect anything too different from that. But even Bitcoin, looking great. We've been following this for weeks as well. We had this sort of range low break a few weeks back, and we've just been going higher and higher ever since. The last time we caught up, we said this mid-range, which is about 66K on Bitcoin, would be a bit of a sticky spot potentially. So we're still kind of hovering around there. But then, just to see the rest of the market play catch-up's been pretty fun. Pepe, for example, absolutely ripped you apart in the tipping comp on this one.
That. Yeah, you nailed that.
So that's been pretty good. Seeing the meme coin train still running. I do wonder if we're going to start to see the big move on the meme coins, and then they sort of have a bit of a sleep for a while. I think that could be coming. It's what we saw last cycle. But Bonk doing similar things as well. So that's pretty good to see as well.
Can't deny the memes.
But just to touch on it, just to wrap up our market news. Like we mentioned, the ETF flows are back for Bitcoin, even after the Ethereum ETF approval, or the SEC approving it being earmarked to release. Huge week for ETF flows. We haven't seen buying power like this, pressure like this for a while now. So well above the averages on some days. BlackRock back at it. So yeah, we'll see how this week sort of dawns at the end of the month, so we can get some choppiness, bit of volatility. So start a fresh month in a few days when the podcast releases. So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bit of craziness leading into the monthly.
Yeah. So what do we got? Last Friday was the last day of records. So 251 million. Before that, 107 million.
Yep.
The day before that, 154 million. So yeah, pretty healthy inflows. And then before that, 305 million.
It's a big one. So good, all good things.
Yep.
But I just want to point out too, there's no real macro headwinds or tailwinds that are going to move the market in a meaningful way, I believe at least, until mid next month. So we've got nothing but free time.
I mean, you say that, but then, I'm going to talk about Trump absolutely gassing up Bitcoin on the weekend.
That doesn't really matter, does it? Then?
Yeah. So for those of you that don't know, Trump basically took to a what are they called? Rally. Press conference thing. And I thought we would play the tweet actually, and just everyone can hear what he has to say.
I will ensure that the future of crypto and the future of Bitcoin will be made in the USA, not driven overseas. I will support the right to self-custody to the nation's 50 million crypto holders. I say this with your vote. I will keep Elizabeth Warren and her goons away from allow the creation of a central bank digital currency.
All right.
What do you take away from that, Teddy?
Look, that's strong. That's very strong. I think
message.
I think he's it's interesting because I think 3 years ago he said I don't want anything. I want to kill cryptocurrencies. Something along those lines, where he just wasn't in support of it.
Yeah, let's not be real. This is all to get votes, right?
Of course. Like he said 50 million Americans who hold crypto. There's probably even more Americans who plan on buying crypto. So it's now. I think the thing to keep in mind here is it's now more politically dangerous to oppose crypto than to support it, because I think crypto's gone through a bit of a roller coaster where it's had its
just
ups
a little
and downs.
bit.
Where people have been heavily against it, particularly in the last sort of market crash and FTX fallout. But now, things have changed, and you're either with it or against it, and people feel very strongly about that.
Yeah, I think it wasn't too much of a crazy thought to think that crypto might have been a bit of a topic to win some votes this cycle around, but I don't think any of us saw the CBDC getting sort of doused being a theme. Like, it's pretty interesting to see that they're supporting the freedom part of it all.
Because it seems like most sort of Western countries and, China and the likes are in support of a CBDC or even just planning to roll out a test sort of phase of it. So it's interesting that he's just going heavily against it.
Yeah, and just to summarize for those that don't know, CBDC would be a centralized central bank digital currency, and the real worry there is everything you spend is tracked to the absolute T, and it's all publicly available on blockchain technology, which we all know. So yeah, I mean,
and it doesn't have the benefits of, say, like a Bitcoin that has limited supply, not controlled by a third party or an institution.
Still be inflated, deflated.
It's essentially the same as the US dollar you have now or the Australian dollar wherever you are, but it's on blockchain.
And you could just be remotely one day just locked out because someone said so.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a bit scary. But yeah, obviously not too bad for communist states where there's social credit systems like China, but not something the Western world really wants. So far, that's what we're hearing. What do you reckon?
Top movers?
Top movers?
Top movers. Sea of green.
Much green.
Sea of green.
Where to start?
Okay, so what do we got? The biggest are the likes of Pepe, LDO, Pendle, ENA, Bonk. So I think the key narratives to highlight here is obviously Ethereum.
Yeah, and Ethereum.
Ethereum ecosystem. Yeah. So obviously there's a few beta plays in there that you could make on the back of the Ethereum ETF. So Pepe, it was like, I guess, Ethereum meme coin, first frog. ENS, Ethereum name server, so it's like Ethereum domains. LDO, liquid staking on Ethereum. Uniswap, which is a decentralized exchange. And then ENA, Athena. I don't know too much about Athena. Have you looked into it?
Yeah. It's part of like Maelstrom Capital, I think it is, which is Arthur Hayes' group. They're invested heavily. He's been pushing it quite a bit, but it is a new type of service. So there's this thing called carry trading and basis trading, where essentially you buy like a spot asset, you short it as well at the same time, and you basically end up with a neutral position, but you end up earning a premium for opening a short position while the market's running hot. So you don't make money if Bitcoin goes up, but you essentially make money on the fact that you're carrying a short trade while everyone else is potentially going long, and you get paid like a guaranteed interest rate essentially. So Athena, basically they provide that service, but they make it easy for people. supposedly, and secure, supposedly.
What is the need for that? Is it to keep it more balanced?
Well, there's people that want to engage in less risk exposure with their portfolios. So, for example, you go to a bank, they go buy bonds and treasury bills to then pay you back an interest rate. They keep a cut. This is the same. They're paying you back a percentage that they're going and finding a yield that's relatively stable. You're accepting that the risk is stable enough for you, because you're not going to make money if Bitcoin goes up or down. You're just making money for holding the position. But again, you could do it yourself, but they're doing it for you, and they're giving you it's just a better user experience is their idea. So like that is new. That hasn't really existed to my knowledge in the past in such a big way. But yeah, it's been moving pretty quickly. I've been watching it every time Bitcoin's dipping. It's moving quite nicely.
Fantastic. And then I guess the other one I'm seeing is RWAs in particular.
Yes.
Ondo. So Ondo's absolutely ripped the last sort of week and a half.
I know we're both happy boys on that one.
Full transparency. Pav and I both have a bag of Ondo. It does fall into the real world assets or tokenization of real world assets category that we know and love. It's kind of leading that space, particularly with its ties to BlackRock. And I think I haven't seen any major news that might have been a catalyst for this recent pump, but I think given the sort of
price discovery,
yeah, absolutely, and also the flexibility from sort of the SEC in the US.
Yeah, I think that's a big flex for it too.
Yeah, absolutely, and given the fact that BlackRock was one of the ETFs, was it?
ETF
for Ethereum.
Yeah, it was. Yeah.
So that could be playing a role as well. And then the other one is Pendle.
Yeah, strength to strength.
Yeah.
But again, Aave2, that was running quite well last time around when Ethereum was having some fun in the sun. So good to see that going too. And ARB, obviously, with that as well. Interesting week ahead.
What's your favorite play on Ethereum beside Ethereum?
It's Pepe.
Pepe, yeah.
Like I doubled down a week ago on Pepe, and it's working quite well, obviously. But yeah, I just think once we're in price discovery, the strength is there. You just don't fight the momentum. The way I sort of view the market is you want to average into winners when they're winning, especially in these conditions where a lot of other assets are still in accumulation ranges. They're still building up, whereas this is already broken out. So, same goes for Bonk as well. I do wonder what will happen if Floki catches up now, or Doge. Like I am keeping a very close eye on Doge, especially on a bit of the sad news we're going to cover a bit later. The original dog from the Dogecoin imagination has passed away.
Spoilers.
RIP. Another one to point out, SNX as well. I haven't looked into if they've recently got a fundamental update into what they're doing, but they've always been leading the space in synthetics on the Ethereum network as well. So that's again, just following the ecosystem lifting. So good stuff. Good stuff for ETH holders. ETH ecosystem plays.
All right, let's dive into some news headlines. So another SEC story. So apologies for everyone who's a bit bored of hearing about Gary Gensler and the SEC in the US. But I guess this is more positive if you're, a crypto native or anyone who holds crypto. The Senate has voted to kill the SEC crypto accounting rule. So I guess what this means is institutions and banks weren't allowed to offer crypto custody services to anyone. So they've basically abolished that. So banks can now offer those services, which
huge.
I guess something we don't really experience in Australia, to my knowledge.
I think there'll be the movement, but if you want adoption and more people having it, you want these like sort of big homegrown names holding your crypto.
Yeah, I think in the US, like if you want widespread adoption, like you said, someone can just log into their bank. They don't have to transfer money to their crypto exchange. They can just do it straight from their bank. Whether we see that in the next sort of 12 months, probably not. But, anything's possible. I know Commonwealth Bank last cycle were looking to do something like that and partnering with Gemini to offer a few cryptocurrencies within the app.
But they still weren't going to do it themselves. They're just going to be a wrapper.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a little bit different where the banks themselves will sort of provide those
have the ability to
services.
Yep. It's all part of the big picture. And I guess the other news piece, we sort of did touch on it just before, the passing of the Doge icon, Kabosu. RIP. So there was a nice little post here by Elon Musk. Didn't see too much price movement on Doge, to be honest, but we've got, what have we got there? Harambe.
I'm loving watching you trying to analyze this in some sort of financial way.
I'm just trying to,
So it's basically
physically describe it.
Harambe, the gorilla who got shot at that zoo, he's got angel wings and he's holding the Doge because they're both in heaven now.
In heaven, yeah.
Big takeaway from this is Elon hasn't really posted about Doge in a long time.
No, he did Floki last, actually. I had a look.
Did he?
Yeah.
Did he? Must have missed that one.
No, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so is he getting back into the whole Doge, fun? Maybe he is. Maybe he's over it. I'm not sure. But the guy loves a meme.
Yeah, I do recall there being a certain satellite that was meant to be launched as a Doge.
Yeah, Doge 1.
Doge 1?
Yeah, I think he got delayed, and then I think it was meant to be delayed until May, so it might be happening this month, if not delayed again.
It almost seems like the perfect time if we're going to speculate for that sort of speed up and happen sooner now.
Yeah, that'd be nice, wouldn't it?
Yep. But yeah, pretty big moment. But what's your take? Is this how we get to $1 of Dogecoin? Something like this happening?
What are we sitting at now for Dogecoin?
Let's have a look.
We're sitting about 16 cents US. Yeah.
You going to call it?
I don't know. I don't think this is going to be the catalyst, but over the next sort of, if you're looking at long term, I think Doge will hit $1 eventually.
Yep.
I don't like to make too specific of a prediction on these things because it can come back to bite you because you can never get these things perfectly right.
No, not at all.
But if you're looking at the Doge community as a whole, and especially Elon's support for it, and he's doing things like the Doge 1 satellite, like that sort of stuff is going to help it. Obviously, as well, supported by a crypto bull market, I think that will help it a lot. So,
yeah, you've been outdone twice in a row now.
Yeah, so we had Ben on last week, and we weren't able to cover the tipping side of things, but Pav did take me out in that week, and he's taken me out again by doing Pepe. So well done, Pav.
Yeah, let's run over it. So previous week, I did you in. What did I have? I had Bitcoin, Pepe, and Neo, and you had Whiff, Render, and FET. And then this week, last week, this week just been. Oh my god, I lost everything. I had Pepe, Bonk, and WLD. So finished up on 11,715. Yeah. While you had Bitcoin, Pyth, and Ronin.
We don't have to talk about where
Pyth being the absolute stinker there for you, 9,700. So we're back tied up 3-3 now.
I just want to put it out there that I forgot to do any research into it, so I panicked and just picked a few that I saw I like the name of, literally.
Just live with your choices.
No, I'm going to make an excuse until I'm winning again, and then it was all intentional. But let's cover what we're doing this week.
What are you doing this week?
For me, I'm doing a three-way split, starting off with Sol. I think Sol, the speculation for an ETF is going to start to begin. I think it's just a wonderful coin as it is. It's down to 5%, I think, in 7 days, whereas a lot of the other coins, particularly in the ETH ecosystem, are absolutely killing it. So I think it's due for a little bit of a pump there. Render, I'm sticking with my guns on Render. We've got
served you well in the past.
We've got AI Catalyst coming up. The Apple Web Developer Conference it's coming in 2 weeks.
Yeah, right.
And there's huge speculation that they're going to go big on AI there, and the announcement is going to come at that conference.
Okay.
So I think Render's probably still in the best position, AI wise. That is. I said last week that I hold AIOZ. Currently can't get that on the demo mode. So Render it is. And then lastly, TIA, Celestia.
Yeah, I like this one. It's just been a bit of a nothing for a long time. But.
So it launched, there was a heap of hype when it launched last year, fantastic team behind it, kind of new, monolithic. I forget the name of the structure it's held on, but it's a new way to kind of build
modular
blockchain. So it's different from everything that's been out there, those being ETH, Sol, even Sui, and it's designed to scale as quickly as possible. They're all trying to outdo each other. I think Celestia performed really strongly post launch, and then it's kind of just fizzled down to about 50%. So I think it's due for some love. I think all the layer ones are due for some love, and I know that's where you're going to take things as well.
Yeah, so for me this week, I'm going to stick with Bonk because we can only have one that carries over. I'm going to stick with ETH because I just think the strength is there, and I don't mind the way it looks on a chart as well. Am kind of worried that there'd be a bit of a pullback this week, but I think I have to live on the edge, and just hope that the momentum carries through this week. And I actually switched up. I know what you're saying. I did have say in there, SEI, but I've switched it for NMR. So again, just going on the AI trend, I just do think that is something that's going to keep playing out. And a bit of a lower cap one on the AI front too. So I'm just going to keep an eye on that one. Higher highs, higher lows. I'm liking that there's a general uptrend forming. Bonk, Ethereum, NMR, all even split. That's how I'm going to take you down this week and get ahead.
Let's see how we go. We've got a couple of other guys in the office doing the comp as well.
Yep.
So they're really getting into it. Obviously, we're taking the lead on that one. which is what we'll tell the listeners.
That's what we tell everyone. That's definitely not what's happening, but sure.
But yeah, we'd love to see you guys, the listeners, have a bit of a go as well.
Have a crack.
Just do it. A couple punts, or not a punt. A couple of tips. TIC tipping. Send us your portfolio and let us know how you did.
Yeah. Other than that, I think we'll leave it there. Catch up with everyone again in a week's time. Hopefully we continue to see this just sea of green, or we start to see things sort of mature a little bit in terms of trends. But for me, right now, everything just looks like we're in early day breakout territory right now, and just need to see if it sticks or if it's going to fall back down again for a couple more weeks. So see what happens.
Great. See you next week when I'm winning.
See you next week when you're losing.
Okay, we'll see. Thanks, guys.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.